Hey guys, it's Micah here, and today I'll be telling you about the Impulse drum sampler in Ableton Live. The Impulse instrument is a drum sampler that allows you to load some samples and tweak them individually. The 8 samples are loaded into Impulse's sample slots, and they can be time stretched, filtered, processed by envelope, saturation, pan, and volume components, nearly all of which are subject to random and velocity-based modulation. People do say that Impulse has largely been abandoned in favor of the drum rack, which I'm sure you are familiar with, but for the sake of being thorough and for those of you who are interested, I thought I'd make a quick tutorial on Impulse too. Now you can load your samples into these slots. If you go into your browser under samples, you just click a sample and you can just drag it in and drop it. These samples are loaded from C3 on your keyboard and move onwards all the way to C4. So C3, D3, E3, and so forth, and this would be B4, stopping just before C4. So I can trigger them from my MIDI keyboard. Now, depending on which sample is active, my controls can be changed. So for instance, if I change a control over here, this control has only changed for my currently selected sample. If I select a different one, you can see my start time is at 0 because I haven't changed it yet. And in so doing, you can create your own drum rack. So let's have a quick look at these controls. I'm going to use this one because it's just a longer sample. The start control determines the start time of the sample. The transposition transposes it up or down, and stretch either stretches your sample or compresses it. The soft button over here, if it's active, just creates a small ramp into your sample, kind of like a softer attack. The transient is different for those of you with sensitive ears, and then you can modulate these parameters either with velocity or with a random function. So you can have your transposition be modulated with your velocity, so your incoming MIDI velocity, whether you strike your MIDI keyboard or you'll push hard or soft, and then random will just include a random element. Then you've got 2 modes, mode A and mode B. Mode B is typically better for higher sounds, such as cymbals, and mode A is ideal for low sounds, such as toms and bass. Then you can add some drive. So if you activate your saturator button over here, Saturday is coming, then you can also change your drive. Well, it would help if the right sample was active. It's kind of cool. And then you've got your filter section, which you activate by clicking filter. You can change your frequency, your resonance. You can have your resonance be modulated by velocity or random, and you can choose your filter and mode with low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch. And then we get to our final settings over here, your global settings. So your decay settings, how quickly the sample decays. And you can also choose whether you want trigger or gate mode. In trigger mode, once I hit my key, the sample already begins to decay. So my finger goes down. My finger's still down, but the sample's decayed. But on gate mode, the sample will continue to sound until I lift my finger from the key, and only then will the decay start. Finger down, I'm holding it, I'm lifting it up, and then it starts decaying. So those are your differences. Then pan, right and left. You can have your velocity modulate your pan, as well as just a random percentage. And then your volume, which your velocity can also modulate. And that's probably your most common use of velocity modulation, is the harder you hit, the louder your sample sounds. And then you can either mute a particular sample. So now I'm playing it, as you can see with this play button, but nothing's sounding. Or I can solo it, in which case if I play anything else, they won't sound because this one is soloed. So these 3 buttons over here will correspond to every single sample. So unlike all these other controls, which you could individually change for each samples, these final 3 controls relate to all of your 8 samples. So if you want the volume of all of them to go up or down respectively, you'd be using this volume. This is a global time control. The time control governs the time stretching and decay of all the samples. It's almost like stretch, so it'll just elongate or shorten your sample. And then your transposition, which will transpose all the samples either up or down by a certain amount of semitones. And that's Impulse. I've done videos like this for all the Ableton instruments, audio effects, and MIDI effects, so if you're interested in those, watch some of my other videos. And for most of the other Ableton instruments, I've created preset packs which I'm sending to my mailing list subscribers at the end of this journey of me turning the Ableton manual into tutorials, which is gonna happen in just a week or two. So if you want those, just go to the description and you're welcome to sign up. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one.